All right, it's your boy. I know it's been a minute, but here we is. It's election day. That's exactly what I'm going to do. That's exactly what I'm going to do right now. Go vote. You should too. All right. So somebody asked me, why do, why should black people care what happens to any other community when we have all the problems that we have going on in our community? And I'm like, why shouldn't we? The same thing's happening into these communities, the LGBT community, the Asian community, the XYZ community. When it comes to discrimination and oppression, we know all the tricks because they've been used against us for a couple of centuries at this point. Like the beating up and leaving bodies in the streets of the LGBT community. That's us. That's Emmett Till. That's what they did to us for years, and hell still do. The voter disenfranchisement of the Latinx community. That's us. That's Texas and Georgia right now. It just boggles my mind when people ask that question because it don't just stop with one community. All right, they beating up on the LGBT this year. Where you think they gonna go after they run all the LGBT people out, or the LGBT people go underground? They gonna look for a new target, and after a while, when they knock down all the easy targets, there's only one target left: us. So you can sit and moan and say it's not my problem, but the problems of somebody else, when they're being oppressed, usually ends up at your doorstep. And if you let everybody else get knocked down, you got to do that fight by your damn self. And I'm trying to have as many compatriots and allies as I can when and if things go sideways, especially when it's against the government. Because the government's supposed to work for the people, not just some people, but for all people. And no government has lasted the test of time being infused and dominated by a singular religious doctrine, religious faith. And that's damn sure what we fought a whole revolutionary war to get away from. Like, we had a whole war. Like, it's part of our innate Americanness to say fuck you to oppression and have separation of church and state. Like, that's exactly why the settlers came over here and started bunking with the Native Americans, because they were getting chastised, beat, raped, and killed on some religious intolerance BS. So to wrap it back around, the black community does and should care about what happens to the communities around us, because whatever happens to them is the pre-fight card what's going to happen to us. And we shouldn't lend our expertise in being the one to shit upon to these other communities so that we can just stop everybody from being trampled on and trounced upon. Because it's getting old. It's getting real old. Like, the same craziness my great grandparents told me about, the same racist intolerance is happening almost 100 years later. And my grandparents were born in like 1915. My great grandparents were born in 1915 and 1920. So it's been almost a good 100 years, and we still dealing with the same problems from, hell, some of the same people. Y'all go out and vote, protect one each other, wash your hands, wear a mask. Peace out. I love you.